So, kind of a little history of the farm. My ancestors settled here in 1865. Started farming with my dad in 1981 out of high school. My brother Dan at that time farmed with us. Went on and farmed with my dad until he passed away in 2015. And my wife and I already took over the farm the year before that. I guess that happened in 2015. So we're Heritage Farm. We took our dad to the state fair got the award in 2015. My mother couldn't make it. She just got out of the hospital, but it was a big day to be at the fair and something like that with my dad. So right now we operate about 600 acres, primarily corn on corn. I do have some beans in the rotation this year, 40 acres of alfalfa, and then we have a little timber pasture. We fatten out roughly around 800 head of cattle a year. We buy 6 to 650 pound heifers and run 3 different sets of cattle. So that's kind of our main enterprise, the cattle operation. Like I said, I've been farming 40 years. Did begin cover crops 16 years ago, and what we did at that time, we drilled them into corn satellite ground we chopped. Usually about 25 acres a year. And how I got started was, I think it was the spring of 1994. In February, we had a nice warm up, and we had a melt. And then we had like 2 inches of rain. And where I chopped, you can see ripples of the soil washing away. So I said to Dad, we need to think about doing something about this, because this just isn't good to see this go. And I'd seen neighbors that had been using rye for their dairy operations, so I thought, well, let's just put some rye in. We had no intention to use for feed, and we'll just terminate it in the spring and go ahead and plant. So roughly at that time, it was, like I said, 25 acres. Then it was roughly, like I said, I think it was 13 years ago, well, Jack Smith, my neighbor, he's here somewhere. The fall before, I had an electrician who was working on a flagpole. It was early September. There was this plane flying around, and he said to me, what's this plane around for? I said, I don't know. I said, well then, I saw it was over Jack, so I called Jack, and I said, Jack, what? Well, he said, Tim, I'm flying some covers on to produce more feed for our cow herd, for him and his son, Nick and Ted. And so I got thinking, they had rented where we worked together on grazing a farm right north of Bankston. They had been grazing that cornfield, 35 acres. In the past, I thought, well, hey, if we can fly some covers on them to make more feed for their cows, and at the same time, I thought, my dad and I always buy like 180 to 190 head of calves in the fall, and we kick them out in our cornfields, and they roughly graze 230 acres. So, well, if we can get another week's worth of grazing for those calves here also, so that's how we started. We went from 25 acres to roughly 250, I guess, that year. So just kind of kept evolving. It worked out. So then, it's like, what am I gonna do in the spring? Well, I did keep tilling this field at home. There was 160 acres. We just chiseled in the spring, put our knives on for disc chisel, field cultivated and planted. And I had no problem with what we were doing. It was working fine. But the field north of Bankston, Brandon thought, well, we're actually going to do one pass with the field cultivator. And I sent my dad in, and we made one round. I said, we need to stop. So we had a mess. The corn stalks were pounded. I said, Dad, we're gonna no-till this. So Dad had been doing, I'm sorry, I kind of going in circles here. I apologize for that thing, but Dad did his first no-till in 1982. He did 25 acres of sod. And then in 93, we did about 30 acres of corn on corn. And I've been dabbling with some no-till at different times, and some years it worked, sometimes at the end. I had a planter with dry fertilizer at the time, and I had him around, and he said, one year, Tim, he said, I'm going to give you one more year to make it work. And the next year, my crop was good, so then we continued on, and I bought a 12-row planter 11 years ago. We put liquid fertilizer on it. So I was able to put some liquid fertilizer down. So, like I said, the covers, and now I've been 100% cover crops. I think it's 7 years with slides. But I guess here's an example. I guess here's what I'm going to go into. This was in Gary Bramble. This is his farm I was farming for. 2017? Yeah, 2017. This was May 11th. It was a Monday after Mother's Day. And I pulled in this rye had been terminated like the Friday before. I think Gary had invited me to come in. He called me and I said, maybe get it sprayed, because I didn't have a lot of experience spraying rye that tall with my plant. So I really had no clue if this was going to work. I kind of shoot by the hip and fly by the seat of my pants a lot. So I pulled in, but we just knew that if we tried field cultivating this, because I've had experience with field cultivating 3-foot tall rye, the one spring where I chopped parts out of each, it got cold and my burn down didn't work, and I had a mess. I had about 15 acres. We field cultivated 6 times over 5 days, and I could find the plant. So I said to Gary,